Was Lando Norris racing fairly when he made his move on Oscar Piastri at the start of the Singapore Grand Prix? Is this McLaren winless streak that we've seen lately, is it significant at all moving forward? And just how impressive is McLaren's second straight Constructors title? These are my three takeaways following the Singapore Grand Prix. Got my notes beside me, so let's just dive right into this. Was Lando Norris racing fairly when he made his move on his teammate and championship leader Oscar Piastri at the start of the Singapore Grand Prix? It's nuanced when I look at it, and here's why I say that. I mean, was it a fair move? Sure, it was fair. It was a racing move, but this is a move that Lando is making where the percentages of it all are very, very low. We have seen other drivers at turn 3 in Singapore try to pull off similar types of passes in the past and it not going very well for them at all. I mean, just off the top of my head, 2018, Esteban Ocon, Sergio Perez. However, Ocon was going around the outside at that turn at that time, but it still remains a low percentage move, regardless if you're going down the inside or if you're going around the outside. There's still going to be some level of contact sometimes in that particular turn. It's nuanced because if you factor in the McLaren racing rules, and something that we don't really have a full understanding or idea as to what all of them are. Did it match? Did the pass match the ethics of the McLaren racing rules, which they've all agreed upon? So the entire team, Zach Brown, Andres Stella, Oscar Piastri, Piastri's manager, Mark Webber, Lando Norris. So is that move, or the percentage of that move and the risk level of that move, is all of that agreed upon within these McLaren racing rules? I mean, that would be a question that I think I would love to know and understand a little bit more, because moves like that are ones that tend to lead to teammates' relationships deteriorating. And you got to listen to me on this because, look, I've raced professionally. I've been involved in motorsports for a very long time. I've raced with and against teammates who have done similar things. I've seen teammates out on the track do similar things to each other and how those relationships deteriorate between the two of them. I've covered in F1 relationships that have, deteriorated quite significantly and very quickly, i.e. Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton. I covered that entire thing. Those were two really great friends, and then they had a massive falling out. So when you look at these little types of moves that happen within a race and throughout a season, they tend to add up. And obviously this is just, I would say, the second sort of one. I would say the first one was probably Canada when Lando ran into the back of Piastri. However, Lando did apologize to Oscar in front of me, actually, following that race, and took ownership for it. Nobody really took sort of any type of ownership just yet over this one following the Singapore Grand Prix. Now, when you look at it from the psychology of a driver and things of that nature, look, you only get so many chances to win a driver's title, and at the end of the day, you're willing to do whatever it takes to get points, beat your teammate, or beat your other competitors to a driver's title. Because when you take a look at 2026, that is a championship where nobody really knows who is going to be strong to start the season, who's going to have that edge. Will McLaren maintain an edge? Will they not? And so for the drivers, they're thinking, I got to win something, and I got to win it now, because I don't know if next year we're going to be this competitive. So now's my opportunity. Now I have to take it, and I have to make some riskier moves to pull things off that may not fall within the McLaren racing rules. And so as McLaren's wrapped up this Constructors Championship, will that change their mindset, both drivers, moving forward? Now that they don't have to worry about collecting the points to make sure the team wins the Constructors title, to make sure all, the employees grab their bonuses and everyone does a great job, do they now focus more intensely on each other? Because this thing is really close, and it's definitely coming down to the wire, and now you've added in Max Verstappen. Even though he is a ways back, you still have to factor him in because of the tracks that remain and McLaren's, I guess, sort of weakness that they're starting to show now. And I think, that gets us nicely into takeaway number 2, which is this McLaren winless streak significant? I mean, they've gone 3 straight races without a win, and they've built an incredible race car, dominant race car that has done incredible things this season with both of their very talented drivers driving it. So is this concerning at all that they haven't won over the last 3 races? And yeah, I think it is. I think it's very concerning for them. Max Verstappen dominated the Italian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen also dominated the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Now you have George Russell and Mercedes, dominating the Singapore Grand Prix. Even though he won by whatever it was, just over 5+ seconds, he was still in a commanding position. His quali lap was amazing. So yes, I think this is something that they need to worry about. I heard from team principal at McLaren, Andrea Stella, on Saturday evening. And it was interesting to hear his thoughts on all of it. I mean, he believes that teams have done a few different things. McLaren has sort of turned the tap off when it comes to development of their race car. Even though they understand it really well, they've turned those taps off and have focused on 2026 and have sort of stopped making new components for this car that they have. Where there are other teams, i.e. Red Bull Racing, Mercedes, who haven't really, shut the taps off completely in terms of that development for the cars. Remember, Red Bull Racing brought a revised floor to their car for the Italian Grand Prix. They also brought a new front wing that Max Verstappen got at the Singapore Grand Prix. Same with Mercedes. They brought a revised front wing for their car as well for this weekend here in Singapore. And so those are 2 teams that not only have they brought some new components, they've also really understood their cars way better. And so that for McLaren has got them worried, because even though they understand what they have, they're going to be coming to tracks now where they won't have their advantage. They believe that going to the US Grand Prix in a few weeks' time, that's not going to be a track that really suits McLaren. They probably won't hit a track that really suits what their car does until Brazil. And that's a ways away. And same with Qatar, which is also, again, really far away. The next few tracks up are Red Bull, sort of Mercedes territory. So when you picture all of that, I mean, it could be really difficult for McLaren to come away with a victory and to dominate like we've seen them do at races past. And so how does that factor into this championship? For the constructors, it's going to be a fierce battle for P2 in the Constructors Championship, which brings with it millions and millions of dollars. And that is going to be between the likes of Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull Racing. But factor in the Drivers' Championship now as well, where Max has really started to make a push. And so for McLaren and their drivers, that's got to make you a little bit concerned and a little bit worrying as well. How impressive has this second straight Constructors Championship title been? So winning this second straight title in the Constructors Championship for McLaren at the end of the Singapore Grand Prix, and I take a look at the points total, I mean, they kicked a lot of butt. And it was incredible to watch. And it's big time impressive. And if you go back to 2020 and you take a look at where McLaren was, I mean, at that time, I mean, they were struggling, big time financially. I mean, at some point I thought they were going to go belly up because of the struggles they were going through. And you look at then what Zach Brown, did following that. I mean, the amount of investment that Zach was able to bring into the team, the partners he was able to bring on board McLaren was super impressive. The amount of financial backing, the amount of money he was able to get into the team, also incredible. But also putting Andrea Stella in the team principal position, having Stella sort of recreate a different flow in how a team operates and builds components. I think it also helps that Stella was there for such a long time. He saw a lot of talent that wasn't getting used, that he found a way for that talent to get used as well. And then also key recruits. And in that, I have to pull out, the likes of Rob Marshall, who McLaren was able to pull away from Red Bull Racing. This car, the past few seasons, the McLaren car, that's a part of, Rob Marshall's talents is in those race cars. So I think when we take a look at all of that, you have to also look at the team environment. It is different. I mean, they have created a very competitive team environment where, Stella really allows their engineers to be creative and to use their talent and to see what they can do with things. And so that's got me thinking for 2026 is how much of their advantage are they really going to lose, because they're on such great momentum right now that, I don't know, I think they could have a competitive car for next season. Obviously, it's wait and see, but they have the structure now and they understand how to win and the flow of information and how it needs to go through an F1 team to go and win another Constructors title, maybe even next year, or maybe the year after that. But they have the bones now to really be a force within this sport for the next coming years. We got the U.S. Grand Prix coming up. We're going to be there, boots on the ground, covering it. It's going to be very exciting. I'm interested to see what happens with McLaren. I'm interested to hear, about these talks between, both of their drivers behind the scenes. So hopefully we can flesh those story outs a little bit more for you in a few weeks' time. So keep it locked in right here for F1 News on TSN.